Take it away.
Hello, everyone. I'm Dennis.
I'm Andrew.
We are known as the Crafty Lumberjacks. This is our cat, Teddy Kruger. He might be here for the class as well.
He loves to craft with us. He's our favorite craft assistant we've ever had.
Yes, thank you to Michaels for having us. And of course, thank you for Fiskars for having us.
Yes.
It's great to see everybody virtually. We're going to be making some crafts for the holiday weekend, July 4th.
Yep.
Or for all summer long.
Absolutely.
Actually.
That's the great thing about these crafts. You can really cater them to the 4th, or you could just have them all summer long. Why
Yes,
not?
we'll also give some of our tips if there's any little ones joining us today. Hello. I used to work with kids directing and choreographing musicals live on stage with the kiddos. And Andrew actually was a teacher for 3 years teaching.
Yeah, teaching elementary ed. I went to school for education. So we both have a lot of knowledge about teaching kids and being really creative with kids. So
yes, so we're also going to give
class.
some tips on techniques to use scissors, also tips on hosting your own craft event.
Yes.
And we're really excited. We're coming to you live from Astoria, Queens, New York. If you want to drop where you're from in the chat,
yeah,
we'd love to see where you're watching from. It was a hot few days here in New York. We finally are getting some cooler weather, which is really nice for me and also for the cat, of course. I can't join here.
So we're just going to wait just like 20 more seconds before we start. But Dennis right now is just trying to get on just so he can read the comments as well. But if not, don't worry, we have our monitors who are going to help us out. But I hope that everyone is ready for the summer as much as we are.
Yes.
I know it's been happening, but I just feel like 4th of July is, it's just a
official
milestone.
Kickoff, yes.
Yeah, maybe.
Or you think Memorial Day?
I would think Memorial Day, but we don't need to have that discussion right here. Well, do you want to get started?
Sure.
All right.
We have a couple of hellos in chat. Patty says hello from Manchester,
Ooh, hello, Manchester,
New Hampshire.
New Hampshire. Yes, I used to live in Massachusetts. Love New England. Welcome.
And we have Sarah from Wichita
Hi, Sarah. Welcome.
and Mariel from Florida.
Oh,
yes,
hello.
Mariel,
You must be hot
hello.
down there as well. Well, we're going to be starting our class. We're doing 2 projects today. We're doing Star Wands. Ooh. Oh, Teddy loves this.
He loves it.
He thinks this class is for him. It really is not, but we're going to let him believe that. And we're making these really cute firecracker wands as well. All of this is really easy. And what we want you to take from this class is you don't need to follow these instructions completely. Really, crafting is all about being as creative as you can be and as you want. It's really not about the end game with crafting, especially with children. It's not about that. It's about the journey. It's about the process. It's just about getting creative with materials. That's what we love best. There's no pressure when it comes to crafting, and that's really exciting.
Yes. If you want to switch to the top down, we can start. We're going to be starting with a image. A star can be really hard to cut, so we like to go old school. We use clip art, and I'm actually going to show you a technique on how to transfer your star to whatever material you're working with. We have some fun paper here, red, white, and blue, of course.
Yes, all found at Michael's. I'm sure you have been and you see the paper section. You can get them just like loose, which is great. So you can get so many different types of patterns, colors. That's what I love best. I get lost in that aisle,
Yes. So if you start with your image here, we have a star. We're going to need 2 stars to make our star wand. And this is how I'm going to teach you how to transfer it. You need a number 2 pencil. And what we're going to do is we're going to shade on the back. We're actually going to transfer the star to our nicer paper. So you just shade, 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 shade.
And this technique can be used for for anything that you want to transfer onto another thing. I think that's such a great tool because, like Dennis said, stars can be really tricky to draw, to cut. So this is a great way just to transfer that image really easily.
So, and we're just going to kind of get our number 2 pencil there on the back of our image. And of course, you can do a freestyle star. You can make your own star. You can make it as large as you want, as small as you want. Mine here is about 3 inches wide. And then once we have it shaded on the back there, like so, we're just going to line it up to our actual piece of paper that we're going to use. I'm going to use the shiny blue on one side and then this beautiful shiny red on the other side. And now we're just going to turn it upside down and then place the pencil part onto the back of the nicer paper. And we're just going to trace the star with our pencil. So, and then what will happen is that you'll get
the image from the pencil shading will then be transferred onto the paper.
Yeah, sometimes I have a hard time speaking and crafting.
Well, we were not meant to talk and craft at the same time.
No, we weren't?
But suddenly here we are. But really, I mean, this is kind of old school. Like, if I'm sure you remember carbon paper out there.
Oh yes, this is exactly.
When you would go to the bank and you would have like the carbon paper transfer.
Yes.
Like, this is what it is. Now, you can still find carbon paper, but this is just a great tip that you can just do at home, without really needing anything.
Yes, and if for any reason you have a question, leave it in the chat room. This video will also be available on Michael's YouTube channel, I think in about 24 hours. If you want to revisit any of this, you're welcome to. Also, please, if you make something, share it with us. We would love to see it. All our Instagram handles and our social media handles, it's Crafty Lumberjacks. Tag us, tag Michaels, tag Fiskars, and use the hashtag
Make It With Michaels.
There you go. So look, I got a perfect transfer image there, if you can see on the camera. There we go. So I'm going to do one star on that paper, and then I'm going to do another star on my red piece here. Same thing. You don't have to shade again. You can if you want to, just to be safe. And I'm going to line it up. I always like this paper to go a long way, especially the paper that's a little more expensive. So you want to try to get it into the far corner just so you can use the most of the piece that you're working with,
Yes,
and get the bang for your buck.
Absolutely. And I think a great tip is if you are working with kids, pre-cut your paper down to smaller pieces, just so you're not working with a huge piece. I have made the mistake when I really want to get the most out of a paper and I hand it over, and of course the star ends up like right in the middle, which is understandable. You kind of gravitate towards that. But if you cut everything down to a smaller piece, then you're really going to be able to use most of the paper.
Yes, you should have told me that before we started. Just kidding. So now that we have our two stars traced, it's time to cut them out. We're going to be using the Fiskars kid scissors. They either have ones with a blunt tip here or a sharp tip. Yep. These are really great. They not only cut paper. Here, if I put on the white background, if you see better. Yeah. They not only cut paper, they can cut a wide variety of materials, felt, ribbon.
They really are great. And we are the types of crafters that need scissors on hand all the time.
Yes.
So, we're like always reaching for a pair of scissors, and we happen to have kid scissors because we have a niece and nephew that join us all the time. Yes, and we are constantly grabbing these and just using them. They are really great even for adults.
Yeah. So rather than, sometimes we usually tell the kids if they're practicing their scissor skills, rather than turning their hands constantly all the time to turn the paper. But in this case, for the star, I'm just going to cut on the outsides to the inside. I'm not going to turn my paper. I'm just going to do it, a slit at each time, matching it up towards the center of the star there.
Yes.
We do have a question from chat.
Hi, Chad.
And Alexis asks, is it okay to do only one star instead of two?
Yes, that is a really great question. I'm only doing two because I'm gonna add more ribbons to my wand here, and I didn't want the back of the star to be seen. So that's why I'm doing two stars. But you do you. You can do one star. You can actually make a handful of stars if you'd like.
Yeah, if you made them like different sizes, you could do a.
That'd be fun. That'd be fun.
Oh, see, he's taking my advice. He's cutting it down. Thank you. It just makes it easier to cut as well, right?
Yes.
But I do like your tip of not trying to go around the whole star, but just focusing on one cut.
Just cut in the middle. Yes. And actually, I got into crafting because my mother used to be a crafter as well, and she would sell her crafts at different fairs and shows and things like that. And I used to make very similar ribbon wands and star garlands that I would sell as like a 9-year-old kid, and I made like $3 a wand.
Wow, and that was what, the early 90s.
Don't tell them how old I am. Yes, and it was really fun, and that was my first experience crafting. for cash.
Oh, well, good for you. I crafted for cash much later in life, but I also wanted to say, like, stars are tricky to cut. If it's too tricky, use any shape you want. I mean, this would be so cute with a circle, with a square, whatever shape is easier to cut. I think you can go for that.
Yes. Now, if you're crafting along with us, now would be a good time to turn on your hot glue. If you don't have a hot glue gun, you can use tape.
Yep.
Of course,
Absolutely.
You could use stickers. You can use other glue as well. I prefer a hot glue gun, but I know, parents, you decide, what you're comfortable with your children using, of course.
Yeah, I think that sometimes there's some steps that it's just easier to kind of like jump in and help.
Yes. Now that we have our 2 stars cut out, they look pretty good.
I think they look really great. Again, this paper really just kind of amps everything up.
Yes. We're going to start to add our ribbon embellishments. So I have a handful of ribbon here. And my tip here to gather the ribbon is because I want a wide variety of different colors. You can kind of see on the wand there. So I'm, rather than kind of cutting each thing individually, I kind of gathered all of my ribbon here in a knot. You can kind of see, right?
Yeah, I see it.
And then you can decide, so you tie it in a knot, tie all your ribbon together. You can kind of decide how long you want this to be. I'm going to go about a foot down.
A foot down here. And I think this is a good tip. What if I hold this for you? If you are working with kids, hold it for them nice and taut, and then they can cut it themselves.
Yes, but now, Andrew, I don't want you to let go of the side, because then we're going to retie it.
Okay, that's a good. I totally would have let go of that. All right.
Yes, and I'm going to make about 4 bundles. See, look, even these kids' scissors, they cut right through all of those ribbons.
All right, here you go.
Okay, and then I'm going to do another knot here at the top. And I'm making about 4 sets of these that I'm going to glue to the back of one of my stars. You can tie, and again, you can use any color. We're using red, white, and blue, just going along with the theme for 4th of July. But it can be pink, it can be orange, it can be blue, whatever you have. What I love about crafting is, especially for the kids now that they're out of school, you just leave them with materials and you'll be so surprised on the incredible things that they come up with. Oops.
He just did what I said.
I didn't listen to my own advice.
That's all right. I'll gather for you. You know what? But that's a really good tip. That was actually going to be one of my tips for just talking about craft classes in general. Like, you do not need to put so much emphasis on the end craft as much as just like having the materials out there, because you will be surprised, and I'm sure parents know this, that you will like think, oh, let's do this, and kids will come up with their own way to do it, their own idea for it, and it's sometimes even better than what you planned ahead.
Yes.
So don't focus so much on that.
Yes.
I think.
Because we host a lot of different events and craft parties. Even at our parties that we have at our own home, we always have an activity for our guests.
Yes.
I mean, we have to, because we're the crafty lumberjacks, so they're expecting it. But we just gather up some supplies, leave it out. We'll have some examples on what they can make. But people get really crafty and creative, and it's really fun to see.
I know, I'm always like, why didn't I think of that? How did I not think of that?
I know.
And this is great if you want your kids to practice tying knots. It's really great to teach them,
Will you hold this taut again?
I will hold this taut and I will not let it go.
Thank you.
There we go.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
Yes.
And then I'm going to gather up my last set of ribbon here. Just tie it. Do you need me to do another knot, or?
For mine?
Yeah.
I would love one for my craft, actually, since we're here. Why not?
All right.
We tried this a couple of different ways when we were doing it originally. Dennis tried gluing each ribbon to the star. It just didn't, it didn't have the same effect. This looked a lot better. It just like added this bunchiness, which then it flows in the wind.
Yes.
And again, like Dennis said, all right, thank you. Like Dennis said, you really could go all out with your colors. If you're doing any sort of themed party, you can really cater the color of ribbons and the star to match that. which I think is great. I love a versatile craft, you know?
Yes. So now we're going to glue our ribbon to our star there. You can decide whichever star you want to use. I'm going to use my blue. And for my wand piece, you can either use a wooden dowel or you could even use a straw.
Yes, I love these paper straws because, I mean, Michael's has so many different colors, so many different, you know, varieties of them. You can really just.
Yes,
you know.
I'm going to use the dowel for this one.
All right.
Or, you know,
If I can interrupt, before we move on, I'm looking at everyone in class and we have quite a few people making along with us. And it seems
Okay,
like
that's great.
people are still working on the ribbons. So I was wondering if we could give them a little bit of time to catch up. And while we did
Absolutely.
that,
Thank you.
would you mind sharing any memories you have of a fun 4th of July celebration or a summer event that you guys had?
Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, we have a tradition here in Astoria. Again, we're from Astoria, Queens. Queens is the most diverse area in the world. So we have such a wide variety of people here, great food. But one of our community traditions here in our neighborhood is fireworks in the park. We actually just had them recently on Tuesday. They were canceled last year. But they had them this year again, and they were super fun. And it's a really great event that the neighborhood, we've been here about 10 years now.
Yeah.
And it's really super fun.
Absolutely. I mean, and we're such park people in general. Living in New York, our summer is just filled with getting outside because we live in a 1-bedroom apartment. So we're always just outside. And I feel like, you know, like thinking of our past or like when we were growing up, Dennis was filled with going to craft fairs with his mom.
Yes. And actually, I took that craft thing. I was always kind of thinking I always wanted money. You know, I'm sure there's some kids out there that have lemonade stands and things like that.
Totally.
So I would be like, yo, mom, I can sell these like at a firework event. So I would take my ribbon dancers, my star wands. I got a big vase. I put them in a thing. I made a strap. I walked around the park. I probably shouldn't be telling people this, but I'm like literally 14 years old, or maybe 11 or 14.
I picture him being like 6.
No, this started at like 8, 9, and then I was like, I can make some serious cash here. So then I would like wear the thing around my thing and just walk around the park with my ribbon dancer, and people would just give me cash.
Wow.
So that was one of the best memories.
That's so great. I love that. It looks like people are caught up, so we should be ready to move on to the next step.
Perfect, thank you. So now we're ready to attach our ribbon to the star here. I'm using a bit of hot glue, but you can use whatever you have at home.
Yes.
So you just want to line your dowel or your straw, your pen, whatever you have, that's going to be your main focal stick there, and just line it up in the center of a star. I like to do it right in the little crevices there, right in the center. And I'm going to do a little glue, hot glue, right on it. And then place my dowel right on the hot glue, let it set for a little bit.
And we do have a question in the chat box about adhesive.
Yeah.
So maybe tape or glue dots or other ideas if you don't have a hot glue gun.
Yeah, absolutely. I think double-sided tape works great. We like any type of adhesive. I think
glue dots, like you said, will work really well.
I'm such a big fan of glue dots.
Yeah, I love
glue dots, especially when you're crafting with a big group. I think that's such a great medium to use instead of hot glue, where it can be tricky. If you're working with 5, 10 kids, it's a lot to pass around a hot glue gun.
Yes, for sure. They also actually make and sell at Michael's paper with an adhesive backing.
Yes.
So that you can even peel off the backing of the paper and it has the stick right there for you, you know?
Totally.
So once this is set, it seems pretty secure. I'm just gonna pour some more hot glue. I'm someone where it's like anything more is better. So I'm just gonna kind of put a little hot glue on the top of the stick there, just to kind of really secure it in place, because we're going to be waving this thing later. We don't want it to break on us.
Dennis is a very active waver. When he's waving things around, he does it with gusto. What can you say?
Hey, you know, you got to sell those ribbon wands.
Oh my God.
You got to let people see it.
I'm learning so much today about you.
Okay, so we're going to let that sit for a little bit. And then again, once this is dry, we're just going to kind of, You know, actually, I'm gonna clean up. So I have like these knots here, and there's some like extra pieces of ribbon that I don't need, and I don't want ribbon coming out of my star. So I'm just gonna trim down the edges here of the ribbon at the top by the knot.
That's great. And again, these scissors just cut right through them with no problem.
So easy breezy. Can you see? Sorry,
Yeah,
I'm
I
trying
can
to get
see.
it up close here. You know, this way we have a really clean knot there.
Now, if you're just joining us and you are wondering what this blob is, that is our cat, Teddy Kruger. He loves to just, you know, lay on top of all our materials. If you have a cat, I'm sure you deal with the same thing.
Yes, they like to get crafty with you.
Absolutely.
So, and now we're just going to attach our ribbon gatherings to the back of the star. Same thing, I'm using hot glue. You can use double-sided tape, the glue dot, whatever you have at home. And I'm just going to kind of glue my ribbon down in place with the knot kind of bunched up close to the stick there.
Yes.
And, you know, be careful always when you're working with, you know, a hot glue gun and scissors, you know, safety first.
I was going to say a good tip is if you're a kid and you are crafting and there is hot glue, use like the back of a pencil or the back of a pen just to push your knot in.
The back of your scissors.
Yeah, the back of your scissors, just so you don't have to put
Push
your
it down.
fingers in them, like in the glue.
Yes, and I'm just going to kind of gather all my knots here because this will make it look really full, really festive.
And this is great too. If you are having a barbecue or something and maybe you don't want to have a craft event at the barbecue, but maybe you want to prep. You could prep all of these in advance and have them ready for fireworks or just to wave throughout the day. It's a fun craft to make in bulk as well.
Now to attach my other stars, and that's essentially it. So I know some people were asking, do I need 2 stars? And you don't need 2 stars at all, but you see, so this looks great from the front, kind of rough from the back, which is okay, you know, depending on how you want to use it. But now I'm just going to add my second star to the back and kind of to get it, to have it rise up so that it's not kind of pressing into the thing. I'm using these, where did they go? Little adhesive squares. Yeah, they're kind of like a foam adhesive square. So they have some bulk to it. It's a little thick, you know, and they come pretty sticky.
On both sides,
Yeah, and I'm just gonna add them to the back of my star there. And this because there's a little extra room. I do want some extra height. So I'm gonna kind of actually double them up.
And this is not necessary. If
No,
you don't
this is
have
not
these
necessary at
adhesive
all.
foam pieces, there's really no need to have them. It's just going to help,
you know, just give you a cleaner look, you know.
Yeah. But I think just some hot glue on the back of the ribbon, I think would do fine.
Absolutely.
Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. What's everybody else doing for the 4th of July? Are you all seeing fireworks? We want to hear about it. Do you have a big celebration in your town? You can leave a comment.
I think this is going to be a big year for everybody.
Yes, I was going to also say I'm a huge fan of live music. So anytime they have like a live, you know, or firework event with live music, I'm there. Absolutely. I'm there. So now that that's ready, we're just going to add our second star here right on our pieces.
And if there are any kids who have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. We want to hear all the questions. Oh my gosh.
Yes. And now you have a gorgeous little 4th of July star wand that you can wave into the sky. You can even put these along your, oh, thank you, camera one. You can even kind of line these up in your yard, like along your walkway, your driveway. That'd be so much fun. Give them to your cat. Actually, Teddy has been playing with these nonstop.
I'm like, please do not break them.
Yeah, so it is a star wand and a cat toy.
These would be so cute in a bouquet.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Right?
Or like, yes, in a vase or something.
I like that idea of lining them up, though.
Yes.
You didn't tell me that. That's so smart. If you are making one and you're done, we would love to see them.
Yes, and again, make sure you tag us, Crafty Lumberjacks.
I see one waving.
Oh yes, wait. Oh my gosh, that's beautiful.
Wow, I love the detail you added onto the star.
Yes.
Oh my gosh,
so pretty.
Wow, we have Supergirl over here.
Yes. Oh my gosh, wave your wands. Let's see them. Oh, the cat's getting. Oh my gosh, that's beautiful. Whoa. That is beautiful. Beautiful
I
star
love
wand.
that you made so many different stars, and then place them in different directions. That is so smart. Let me see. Oh, those look great. Wow, yes. The two of you, I can see them. They look so good.
I'm trying to think of a song. Oh, baby, you're a firework.
We don't have the rights to that. You can't
We
sing
can't
that.
say that. That's the only thing we can sing. Just kidding. I love them. Beautiful work, you know, and I love it. Oh my gosh, look at those.
Look at
beautiful.
those
I love
ribbon.
those
Oh, that
colors.
ribbon is beautiful.
Oh my gosh. Wave
we're
it. Let
still
me see
working.
you wave
We're
it.
still working. I love that.
Beautiful. Nice job.
I have to say, I am so impressed. I didn't really expect so many people to be crafting at once.
I know. Thank you.
And we went at a pretty quick pace, and
And they were on it.
you were on it. Wow, I am really impressed right now. Well, all right, I don't know who else would like to craft some more, but you are more than welcome to create another star wand if you remember how, or if you have a toilet paper roll or a craft roll at home, you can make a kids-friendly firework waver. I really should have thought of a better name. That I really should
I
have
think
done
you
the
can
homework.
end it at firework.
All right.
That was perfect.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and I'm going to actually just measure the length I need onto a piece of paper and then cut it out just so I can wrap it around. Now, of course, we have Teddy Kruger right over here on top of all the paper I need. So I'm going
He's
to
warming it up.
There we go. Thank you.
He knows it's a firework.
You know, we got his cat booty all over my, now I have to
Beautiful
take out the
paper.
hair. But I think a really great tip is if you are trying to cut a straight line, find pieces of paper where there's a grid on it. Because that's just easier to follow as a kid or an adult. It's always easier to follow something with a line. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my toilet paper roll right here, and it actually matches up pretty well right to this line. And I'm just going to mark it with a little pencil, just like a little pencil. But what you can do then is you can either just freehand follow the line or even take a ruler and just mark it out. And now I'm just going to take my pair of scissors and cut a straight line. Now, a good tip when you're cutting a straight line is to open up your scissors as you go and move your scissors along while you're opening it. I'm going to explain that again. So instead of just cutting and just like snipping it like this, which sometimes we do, it won't give you the quickest, or I'm sorry, the smoothest line. So what I like to do is I like to think of it as gliding. So I open and close as I move. And this takes a lot of practice. Actually, I got the most practice when I was a teacher myself, because I would do so many bulletin boards and things like that. I would get so excited. That's really where I learned all my scissor skills, which I think I'm actually
Yes, Andrew can do a lot of beautiful work with paper.
I love paper and scissors, you know. So I'm just going to trim this a little bit more. And again, I'm opening, and as I'm opening, I'm pushing my scissors through just so it creates a nice smooth line. But we're not looking for perfection here. Yes.
No.
All right, so I have the paper to wrap around ready, and we're not going to wrap that around just yet. We're actually going to work on the top, because a toilet paper roll is hollow inside. So we want to make sure there's a nice top just like this one. And what I'm going to do for that, I'm going to take a piece of paper and then I'm going to trace my toilet paper roll with a pencil. Will you let me know if you're crafting along, just so I know to take my time, or if I should try to be speeding through? I'm happy to do either. So I'm going to draw a circle around my toilet paper roll. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to freehand another circle around it, just about ½ an inch around. It does not need to be perfect at all. I'm just going to draw it. And what I'm going to do next is actually cut that freehand circle, the outer circle. And again, it's easier if you're using a smaller piece of paper. There's no need to try to cut out a huge piece of paper. That can be tricky.
Yeah.
So I'm just cutting it around, and this is probably my #1 favorite tip. Dennis knows it. When you're cutting something with a round edge, don't move your hand. Actually move the paper. So I'm turning the paper instead of the scissors. So my scissors aren't moving at all, and I'm just turning the paper.
Yes.
You know, that's going to help you get a
More control.
Absolutely. It's all about that control. And I'm going to get a cleaner
cut.
A cleaner cut.
Sorry, I'm filling in your words because I know it's hard to focus, and
I always like when you fill in my words. I don't mind that at all.
you can tell me to be quiet. It's
I would
okay.
never do that on camera. All right, so if you are working and you're not at this point, just let me know. But I'm gonna continue forward.
We do have some people, look like, that are continuing to craft along with you. There was a question in the chat box that I thought I would bring up just to let them catch up a little bit. What is your favorite thing about the 4th of July, from Olivia?
Oh my
gosh. Well, I mean, I think this could be the most obvious answer, but I have to say fireworks, right?
Yes.
I mean, I just get
fireworks.
so excited with the fireworks. I also just love being outside with a big group.
Yes, I was going to say, so much of it is about togetherness,
Yeah.
coming together, your family, your friends, eating good food, celebrating, being silly.
Yes.
And I think that's really fun.
This is going to be the most adult answer ever. It's a nice holiday where there's no gifts involved, so there's not a lot of stress prep wise. You know, it's one of those that is really just easy.
Show up and
Could it
hang
be more
out.
adulty than that? You know.
No, I love that.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to continue on because this next step, once I show you, you're going to understand it. Now, this is a really great step for practicing your cutting skills. What we're going to do is, I want to make sure this is in focus. There we go. I'm going to cut slits. Now, I think of this almost as a sun. I'm going to cut slits, but I'm going to stop my cut in the center circle. So I'm going to cut along as I go. And if this is a little tricky, I think a great tip is take a pencil and draw your rays. So think of like a sun and just draw the rays going out. And I'll show this in the camera in just a second. That will just help you as a guide on where to cut. Let me see. Can you all see that?
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm just going to cut those lines. And what this is actually going to happen, it's going to help us wrap this around the top. So if this doesn't look good, that's okay. It doesn't matter. You won't even see these, especially these parts, you won't even see that.
We always like to say it's not really about the destination, it's about the journey.
Yes.
You know, so this is a perfect opportunity for you to use what you have, you know, pick things that you like to make it your own.
Totally. Now, if you are hosting a craft class with kids, this is something you might want to pre-draw just 2 circles so they can cut it out and then cut, just because it can be a little tricky.
Yeah.
So then, and if you're not cut up, that's okay. I'll take my time with this. Then you're going to fold up the flaps and you want to crease it right where that center circle line is. So I'm just going to fold and fold. And I'm just going to go around the circle. Now, Dennis said we do teach a lot of craft classes. We used to do it a lot more. This past year has been a little slow, but some tips we have are, again, not focusing too much on the end result, because you will be surprised how many people, kids or adults, want to kind of go their own route. But another tip is to, I have a tendency to want to pile every craft supply I own into one big pile. But sometimes it's better to have a little bit of restraint and limit the amount of stuff that's there, because I know when I'm crafting and I'm trying to think of any idea, it's a little hard. But if you limit it, you narrow your focus, it's a little easier for people jumping in to find things
right.
that they gravitate towards.
By having fewer options, it makes things easier.
Yes, totally. And another tip is pre-cut your materials, like I said before. This is really great too. If you're hosting a craft event with for kids and you have a kid, have them jump in and pre-cut everything into smaller pieces. This is really going to help out, just make it easier to cut. Also, it's going to help keep things organized. We like to pile things in like groups.
Yeah, or even like upcycle our cans. This is a tomato paste can that we use just to kind of hold our scissors.
Yeah, just have everything accessible. I'm trying to think if we have any other tips.
And have fun.
And have fun, yes,
always.
Of course. All right, so now we have our our topper. I was going to call it a sun. And now what I'm going to be using is some double-sided tape for this, but glue will work just as well. I just randomly thought of double-sided tape because I was visiting my niece and nephew and they were obsessed with double-sided tape. And I was like, you know what, that works just as well. But what you can do if you have glue is take a little bit of glue and then you just want to press the edges down around. So you're literally creating a little top for it. If that doesn't make any sense and I wasn't using my words correctly, let me know.
That makes sense. Do you want a large piece or a small piece?
That's good.
Okay.
So if you are using tape like me, you can just wrap that around the top right here. But if you are using glue, just add glue just around, just like that.
Yeah, and I always think like less glue is more. Sometimes you don't need like tons of glue. I know I said before about the hot glue gun, but in this situation, when you're working with something delicate or small, you know, less is more. You don't need a lot sometimes.
Yeah, I think that's a good tip. All right.
Any more?
Yeah, I'll take a little more. And we're gonna actually, we're gonna go over this with another piece of paper. So if it's a little wobbly, don't worry about that. So there we go.
Yeah.
And now we have a top. So this is probably the trickiest part of the whole craft. So if you're having trouble, not to worry, I had trouble too when I first did it. There we go.
Very cute.
Yes. So
And
now,
I love that buffalo plaid, so on
I know,
brand for
I
the
love
crafty lumberjacks.
so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the piece I already cut to wrap around, and I'm just going to wrap it around the whole toilet paper roll. And I'm left with a good amount that I didn't pre-cut, and I'm just going to snip that off as well. But Dennis, I'll take some extra tape.
Great.
If you are using glue, that's not a glue stick, I think a really good tip is to grab a paintbrush, and then if it's like a craft glue, you can put it right on top of the toilet paper roll and then spread it around with a brush, or even better, you could do the same thing on the paper. But if you do use glue and you just press it onto the paper and you press it on, sometimes that can create some bubbling. So I like using just a paintbrush to help smooth it out. Yeah. There we go. I'll take one more piece.
The
Thank
center
you.
there.
And now I'm just going to wrap it around. And I'll take one more piece of tape just to tape down the edges. But now I'm just going to cut this. Yep, like that. And you know, if I was leading this like with a big group, I would kind of stop here and just allow everyone to then embellish as they want, because I think that's the fun part of this specific craft. It's like, well, now that you have the base, you can embellish it as you want. But I am going to teach you how to cut out these freeform stars, which I think just add a little bit of like whimsy and fun. Now, I was kind of thinking these as like, you know, when a firework like pop, pow, poof, pow, you know?
Yeah.
That's how I was thinking of these, not so much as like stars on a flag, but more like, meow. How's everyone doing? Just keeping up with everything.
It looks like we have quite a few people making along, and everyone's working on getting their paper wrapped around their tube.
Awesome. You know, while you finish that, I will just add another piece of wrapped paper along, just because, you know,
Why not?
why not? And again, this is when it's really great to just have a stack of paper for everyone to create, and they can really just do their own thing. What do you think about that?
Yeah.
So instead of just doing a straight line, I'm going to kind of do a wave. Why not?
Nice, nice.
There we go. And I really do think it's so, I think something, oh, I thought of a tip. I was going to say, I think it's so fun to really have an activity for people at a barbecue, at something where it's not really expected. Our cat is trying to take down our ring light right now. But a good tip is, if you're trying, and this is for parents out there, if you're trying to take up a lot of time, I think everyone who has worked with kids or has kids knows you will think an activity will take 30 minutes. After 7 minutes, everyone's done and running wild. Something we both really love to do is create a planning session first. If you're creating something like this, ask the kids, how are you going to make your firework look at the end? And then give them a piece of paper and a pencil, have them draw it out first. This will not only take up a good chunk of time, but it will also allow them to really think about what they want to do
to develop
before tackling it. Because I will say I'm the type of crafter who can sit in front of a ton of materials and not really know what to do for a while. Dennis will be like, are you still literally just trying to figure out how you're going to craft? I'm like, yes. So having something planned out, I think, is helpful.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so now I'm going to cut out my stars. And again, if you are crafting along and you're not here yet, that's okay. I think what's next is embellish this as you want. That's the fun part. So I'm going to cut out my stars. And what I like to do is start with a nice small square. And then I like to start by taking a cut and going in, just like Dennis showed you before. And I'm just going to do a set of V's. So here's a set of V. And then, does that make sense? A set of V.
Like a V.
Yeah, and then I'm going to cut in here. And every time I do
it's kind of like
this,
how we did the V's on the star.
yes,
But this is more freeform.
yes,
organic.
definitely. And of course, if this is tricky, which it can be, draw it out first. Just draw your star the best you can, and then go for it. But I think the best tip is start with a small piece and then just go in. You know, this star is nothing. I did not want my star to, or I did not expect my star to look like this, but look at it. I think it's pretty fun.
It's fun, yeah.
So now I'm just going to tape this right onto here. Okay. Yeah, just a little baby tape. There we go. And I'll take another piece because I'm going to add some of the others I made before. And again, just embellish this as you want. Now I know we're kind of pressed for time, so I'm going to move on and show you how to add the little wick, you know, where you would light the firework.
Yes.
There we go. I mean, that's
very cute. Very cute.
I think it's pretty cute. All right, to add the wick, what you want to do is you want to take your scissors. And again, if you would like to assist, if you're a parent, I think it's a good time to, and you just want to press right into the center. I opened my scissors and now I'm taking it in and I'm just pushing it down. The great thing about these scissors, they don't cut skin, but they actually cut really well. So you don't want to push it down where you rip the whole top. You just want to lightly wiggle and go down, and you shouldn't have a problem. So now I'm going to take a pipe cleaner and I'm going to push it through just like that. And I like to take the pipe cleaner and then add just a little bit of hot glue right in the hole. Dennis, thank you.
Like just let it fall down.
Yeah, you can just like let it fall. I think it's okay.
Okay.
But if you don't want to use hot glue like that, what you can do is just take, when you push your pipe cleaner in, you could just make a ball at the bottom and that should hold it in place, you know?
That's a good tip.
I should have thought of that before I did this one.
That's what I love about crafting. You learn as you go.
I know, literally.
You find shortcuts that work for
Yes.
you.
And you could be working on a craft for over and over and you'll still find things as you go.
Yes.
Now I want mine to be a little on the whimsy side. So I'm going to take my pipe cleaner and I'm going to wrap it around my finger. And I just think, you know, that adds a little bit of fun.
Yeah.
Now, Michael sells these really fun pom-poms. Now, this is just an add-on. You don't have to do this, but I'm going to just hot glue it right to the end of my wick right over here. Thank you, Dennis. And again, if you have a parent, have them help. And there.
And actually, when we were kind of workshopping these crafts, you can actually even just poke your pipe cleaner into the pom-pom and it will stay because there's some, you know, fabric in there or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, you can just poke this in and it will stay.
Yeah, but adding a little bit of glue will definitely help secure it. Now, I am going to now take my straw and I'm going to place it just right on the side. I did try to make it center, but it just wasn't staying because like we said, we like to wave things pretty aggressively over here. So you wanted to make sure that it's nice and sturdy. So what I'm gonna do is just add a little bit of hot glue right to the side, the inside side of the toilet paper roll.
Mm-hmm.
When you're finished with that step, we had a request from Isa to repeat how you inserted the pipe cleaner to the top, the wick of
Great.
the candle.
All right, so I just glued the straw right onto here, and I'm gonna let that sit for just a moment. Now, to insert your pipe cleaner, what you wanna do is open your pair of scissors and then lightly push them in. I think wiggling it as you go really does help. And just push your scissors in to create a slit. And then what you can do is you can feed your pipe cleaner through the little hole, and you can either add some hot glue to it and press it to the inside, or you can feed it all the way through and then bunch up the end just so it won't fall out. If you need me to go over that again, I will happily do that. I know this is a little more complicated.
Oh, there goes the cat. Teddy.
And then you can just take the pipe cleaner and roll it around your finger if you want. Or the great thing about pipe cleaners is if you don't like that, you can just let it be straight, or you can just kind of give it a wiggle like that. All right, and we're almost done. I think just because we have the ribbon from our other project, why not use it again? What I'm going to do is I'm going to take our ribbon just like Dennis did. Actually, I had him prep this for me. But you can take pieces of ribbon, tie them together just like we did before. And Dennis, will you give this a cut for me as I hold it? Great, thank you. And then I'm just going to glue it right into the toilet paper roll. Just so it's nice.
Now it's a firework.
Now it's a firework.
Yes.
There we go.
Very adorable.
Yes. I think this is a great intermediate craft. It does take a little bit of time just to get the structure, the top, and stuff like that. I like to get those things out of the way and then take my time to embellish. But this is a really great craft to really work on your cutting skills, which is so important for development. And it really can be so personal. You can really create anything you want with it, which I think is so fun.
Yes. We'd love to see all your projects if you want to hold them up to the camera before we go. Oh my gosh, there's one.
That one is so cute.
I love that.
I feel like I'm in a Dr. Seuss movie right now. That
Yes.
is so cute.
Oh, hold on.
Yes.
Beautiful.
That star is beautiful.
Oh my gosh, very patriotic over there.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Oh, I love that you did the
Beautiful.
pipe cleaners like that.
Oh my gosh, let's see your wands and your fireworks.
Hi.
Oh my gosh, beautiful.
I love that blue stripe.
Wow.
Wow.
How fun. Oh,
that looks awesome.
amazing, amazing.
Oh my gosh, that looks incredible.
Wave it, wave it.
Oh, yours
to the
has
side.
a loop. I
Oh
like
my
that you
gosh,
can wave
it's
it.
like a firework purse. I love it.
I did not think of that. That's so great.
Hold up your firework.
Oh,
Oh gosh,
look
we
at that
got you.
wand.
Spotlight.
Oh, and you have all your craft
Oh
supplies
my
back
gosh, that
there.
looks like a fun craft room.
Oh my gosh, if you want to come organize our crafts.
Oh, I love it.
Oh, look at that
Oh,
ribbon.
that's a
It's
lot of fun.
curly. I love
Yes,
that curly
curly
ribbon.
ribbon. Oh, I see a firework. Oh, beautiful.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
Wow.
Very cute.
Oh, did you use stickers on yours? I love that.
Oh, that's a
idea.
good
I think
idea.
that's a
Use
great
stickers.
tip. Have
You can
stickers
color.
to
Yeah,
embellish.
markers.
Hi.
Hello. Oh, there
Whoa,
we
look at
are.
those
Who did
ones.
these ones? Oh, it's me. We had so much fun today.
Me too.
Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you to Michaels and of course to Fiskars. Be sure to tag us in your pictures. We're known as the Crafty Lumberjacks
Yes.
across all social media, and use the hashtag.
Make it
Make
with
it-
Michaels.
Yes, make it with
I
Michaels.
got it.
And again, also, if you want to revisit this video, it will be posted on YouTube, so you can always check it out to revisit,
Yes.
to hear our tips and
To
tricks
see
again.
Teddy, our cat, absolutely.
Yes, the crafty mascot. And we hope you have an incredible holiday and a safe
Yes.
weekend.
Bye, everyone.